So this is Lazarillo de Tormes, Tractado 3, Part 3. So I was at the door looking and considering and thinking about these things until my master went down the long and narrow street. I returned to go back in the house. I went back in the house, and in a twinkle, so in a creed, the time takes to say that in very little time, in a twinkle, I'd walked all around it, upstairs and up and down, without having to stop nor finding a reason why to stop. I make the dismal, gloomy and hard bed. I take the jug and I end up in the river. I go to the river where in a garden I see my master in a great sort of duel and a great animated conversation with two veiled women, seemingly of those that in that place are not missing. So basically, the women of a certain type, most probably prostitutes, who and there's a lot of them in that place. And before, many had the habit of going in the morning, in the summer mornings, to refresh themselves by the river and to go and have something to eat without bringing anything on those refreshing banks, with the confidence that someone wasn't going to be missing, that someone would be there basically who would give it to them, as in give them the lunch, in accordance with what those hidalgos, those sirs or knights of that place, they had put these ladies in that habit. So the knights or gentlemen, of this place had the custom of inviting these ladies for something to eat, and so they were used to it. And as I say, he was with one of them. He was amongst them, acting as a Macias, who was a Galician troubadour, so acting like a lover boy, saying to them such sweet things that Ovid wrote, saying to them more sweet things that Ovid wrote. But as they felt or they realised that he was all softened up, it was not a shame to them, so they were brazen enough to ask for food, with the accustomed payment. So in return for the food, they would do certain favours. Imagine he feeling his purse so cold as much as so hot his stomach. Yeah, so that means his stomach is sort of incensed from sexual feelings. That was hot, but his purse was cold because there was nothing there. He had such a shudder that it robbed him of the colour of that particular gesture, and he started to get confused in the speaking. So he started to stammer and stutter, and to give excuses that weren't valid. Those girls who must have been well used to these sorts of things and had the knowledge of this sorts of things, since they realised his infirmity, since they felt to him his illness, they let him be for what he was. Me, who was eating a certain root of cabbages, with which that I broke my fast, so I had my breakfast, with much diligence, as a new servant boy, without being seen by my master. I went back home, where I thought to sweep some bits of the house, because it was much needed, but I didn't find anything with which I could barrer, I could sweep up. And then I started to think what I would do, and it seemed to me that I should wait for my master until midday. And if he came, and by luck, if he brought something to eat. But my experience or my waiting was in vain. When I saw that that it was 2 o'clock and he was not coming, and the hunger was bothering me, I closed the door and I put the key where he ordered me to, and I return myself to my needs, and I go to what I needed to do. And with a low and sickly voice, and my hands pointing towards my chest, and God in front of my eyes. So with a look on his face, this means as if God was in front of his eyes, and God's name, his name on my tongue, I start to ask for bread around the houses and around the doors and houses, the biggest houses that seem to me, the ones that seem biggest. But since this office or this trade, I had sucked on it with the milk of my mother, so I'd learned this trade with my mother's milk. Oh, I mean, with the great master, the blind man, I learnt it. I ended up being, I exited that trade with such a sufficient disciple, such a skilled disciple, that although in this village, in this town, there wasn't much charity, nor that year was particularly abundant, was particularly rich. So this would be like the harvest that year wasn't that great, so we didn't have that much money. Such good skill I gave myself. I was so skillful doing it that before the clock struck 4, I was already in possession of so many pounds of bread, which were hidden away in my body. So he'd eaten them and stored away in my body, and more than another £2 in up my sleeves and in my shirt. So it's in my bosom. I returned to the lodgings, so to the house, and when I was going past a tripe shop, so tripe is stomach of a cow, usually a cow, I asked one of those one of those women who were working there, and one of them gave me a bit of nail of cow, a bit of a cow's foot, with other few, con otras pocas de tripas, with another few things of boiled tripe. When I returned home, when I got home, My good master was already there. His cape was folded and had been placed on the bench, and he was walking up and down, or walking around the patio. As I walked in, he came towards me. I thought that he wanted to tell me off for being late, but God did it more. So God punished me, really told me off, punished me more. And I said, why? Preguntándome, so the master asking me where I was coming from, I said to him, Lord, master. Until 2 o'clock, I was here. And when I saw that you, Vuesa Merced, wasn't coming, I went around the city to entrust myself, to place myself in the hands of those good people, and they have given me this, what you can see. And I show him the bread and the tripe, which at the end of my my coat skirts I was carrying. A lo cual, to which he showed a good face. To which, when he saw this, he seemed to cheer up. He showed a good face, and he said, "Well, I have waited for you to eat, and since I saw that you didn't come, I ate. But you do, but you're doing as a good man in this, because it's better to ask for it through God. Yeah, it's better to beg. It's better to ask for it through God than not to steal it." And so he, y si él me ayude con ello, me parece bien. This is a bit strange, but and so let him, God, help me as it seems good to me. So that's not very clear, actually. I'm not really sure what it means. And only I pray you that, or I entreat you that they do not know, the people in the town, that you live with me, for regarding my honour, for what touches to my honour, due to my honour. Although I very much believe that it will be a secret, according to how very little that I am known in this town. Nunca a él yo hubiera de venir. So this hubiera. It can be used like this as an exclamation. Oh, had I not ever came to this place. I wish I had not come ever to this place, to it. De eso pierda, Señor, cuidado, le dije yo, maldito. Sir. So literally it means, sir, lose worry of that. Don't worry about that, sir, I said to him. That be cursed he and anyone who has to ask me about that story, who has to ask me where I'm from, nor I will give it. So basically, I'll tell the person who asked that, I'll say to them, damn be you, go to hell, really, and I wouldn't ever tell them. Now since pues come pecador, si Dios places, okay, so this is the master saying to him. He says, now, well, eat, sinner, if it pleases God. Soon we will see ourselves without such necessity. We'll see ourselves in a better position. Although I do say to you that ever since I came to this house, things have never gone well for me. It must be the bad flaw of this house. So it's like it's got a bad flaw. It's somehow unlucky. That there are unlucky houses and those of which are faithful, unlucky, and that those who live in them, who live in those houses, they also end up getting this bad luck. That must be it, without a doubt. Este debe de ser sin duda de ellas. Sin duda de ellas. So this house must be one of them. But I promise to you that once this month is over, I will not stay. Prometo que no quede, so strange use of the subjunctive there. I promise I won't stay in it, even if they give it to me as my very own house. Ooh. Right. So I sat myself down at the end of the bench, and because and so that he did not consider me a greedy, I did not mention anything about my merienda. So the merienda here would be what he'd eaten that particular day. So cayelo de la merienda. And I start to eat and to bite into the tripe. 1 second. Because of the light. And bread, and without being obvious, I was looking at my unlucky master, who could not keep his eyes off the skirt of my jacket, which at that time I was using as a plate. Dios de mí, okay. Let God have so much pity on me as I have with him, because I felt what my master was feeling, and many times I had passed through it. I had suffered it, and I was suffering it each day. I thought whether it would be good to offer to invite him to the food, but since he had said that he had eaten, I was afraid that he would not accept the invitation. Finally, I desired that the sinner, my master, I desired that he help himself to the toils, a su trabajo, that he helped out his toils from my toils. Yes, this play on words. So he helped alleviate his toils, his hunger, through my toils of begging, and that he may break his fast as he did the day before, since there was better stuff there, since the food was better and there was less hunger in me, and I was less hungry. God wanted to for my desire to become a reality, and still I think that it was his desire, it was God's desire. Since as I started to eat, my master was going up and down, walking up and down. He came to me and he said to me, I say to you, Lazaro, that you have that you have the best grace in eating. That you look lovely when you're eating, like you're enjoying it so much. That in my life I had ever seen in a man. I've never seen a man who eats like you with such good sort of gusto and grace. And, yeah. Y que nadie te lo ve hacer que no le pongas gana, aunque no lo tenga. And to nobody who sees you eat, would it make him that he becomes hungry. It puts to him hunger, although he didn't have it in the first place. Yeah. So, and anyone who saw you eat would end up being hungry, even if he wasn't hungry in the first place. So, gana could then mean also hunger or desire to eat. And then Lazarillo says to himself, most probably ironically, la muy buena que tú tienes te hace parecer la mía hermosa. So the good hunger that you have makes mine seem to you all the more beautiful. That's just been wrong. In the end, it seemed to me that I should help him, since he was already helping himself, and he was opening up the way for it. He was going towards to help himself. Yeah. And I said to him, Sir, the good tools make a good craftsman. This bread is delicious, and this cow's foot is so well cooked or boiled and seasoned that that there must be nobody who's not given over with its who's not enticed with its flavour. And he says to the master says to Lazaro, is it a cow's foot? Yes, sir. I say to you that it's the best morsel of food in the world, and there is not pheasant that tastes so good to me. Well, try it, sir, and you will see how it is. And then he says, I put to him in his nails the other nail. So basically he's saying he puts the cow's foot into his hands, or it's play on words between la uña de vaca, the nail of the cow, and the nail of his hands. So I put the cow's foot in his hands, and 3 or 4 bits of bread, which are very white, and he sits down next to me and starts to eat like one who was very hungry, gnawing at each little bone of those better than one of his hounds could do. With what's this? This is it's a sauce of butter and garlic, I think. With butter and garlic, I was saying, is this exquisite delicacy? And he responded, with better sauce, you are eating it, you. So he must be saying this to himself, because he's calling him tú. Saying, you're eating it with better sauce because the sauce you have is you're very, very hungry. Yo paso. So he gives it, he must give it to him, the foot. Por Dios, que me ha salido, ¿cómo se? And then the master says, my God, it has tasted to me, it's been so tasty, I thought it was so tasty, as if I had not eaten a bite all day. And then Lazarillo says to himself again, ironically, Ansí me vengan los buenos años como ese yo. As it is that, as that is true, so if that's true, let them come to me, the good years. So the good years must be referring to the good years in heaven. So let me die if that is true. Sort of sarcastically saying, yeah, as if. Of course you've eaten today. Pídeme el jarro. So he asked for the jar of water from me, and I gave it to him as I had brought it. That means full, which is a sign that since no water was missing from it, that my master had not had his fill of food. So basically hasn't eaten anything. We drank, and happily we went to sleep like last night. And so as to avoid going on very long about this, in this way we were 8 or 10 days. The sinner of my master going in the mornings with that air of contentedness, and pasó contado a papar and with that contentedness and his particular walk, to suck in the air through the streets, and having the poor Lazarillo as his head of wolf, as the one who would go out and get all the stuff for him. Right, let's stop there.